I'm Mark, and this is Jesse, and this is Unfiltered Curiosity.
So, Mark, today we were going to talk about wood turning since we're trying to be curious about other things, and I don't know much about it. Tell me what wood turning is.
Wood turning is you get a wood turning lathe, and you get whatever wood you want, and you make kind of whatever you want. Honey dippers, or I've been doing pens, like writing pens. You can make bowls.
Bowls,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, like wooden bowls or charcuterie type.
Is that how they make baseball bats?
Yeah, that's on a bigger scale. The lathe that I have is called a MIDI, my DI. It's a mid size.
Okay. Since yours is the mid-size and you make pretty small items, what would a small one be used for?
They make lathes strictly for pens, so they're a lot smaller. I can make stuff with material that's up to 20 inches long and about 13 and a half inches wide.
What else did you make other than the pens? It looked like a bullet.
I've made bullets where the projectile comes out and it's like a stash thing, like a stash cylinder with a
Yeah,
lid.
somewhere you could maybe put like pens or something like that.
Yeah, pens or weed or whatever.
So it's hollow.
Yeah.
Could you make it lamp out of that?
Yeah, you
Is it
can.
big
You can
enough to
make.
fit like a light bulb in there?
Yeah, yeah, you could definitely do that. You wouldn't need it to fit the light bulb, just the electrical socket that the light bulb screws into.
Well, I was thinking down inside it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can run LED ribbon light or anything through them, but there's definitely tons of stuff that you can do with it. And I just got it for Christmas last year because I had been looking on stuff to do just around the house for the winter time when it's super snowy out.
Find some indoor hobbies.
Yeah. And I like working with wood anyway, as a
Oh, you
trade. That's
do.
what I do. Yeah. Love working with that wood. So
So, is there any part of cabinetry that goes with wood turning?
not really. I mean, it would be more for like decorative. Like if you wanted to put knobs and pulls on your drawers and indoors, you can
Handles,
make
yeah.
those hardware.
Okay.
Just more for deco stuff, if that was the application.
Not for like the frame of it.
No, no.
So, what made you think of wood turning when you were looking for these new hobbies? What interested you about the wood turning?
I've always kind of wanted a lathe. I remember when I was younger, I saw a lathe for the first time, and it's the very first time I ever drilled something into a piece of wood. I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I just took a 2x4 and I drilled probably 100 holes in it. For some reason, it just fascinated me. And so the same thing with the lathe. I didn't get to use that lathe because it didn't work, but years later, from seeing stuff in my algorithm, I wanted one. And so I got one. And there's so much more stuff you can do with it than just pens. Like there's bowls, there's lidded jars, they call them, like wooden lidded jars. And there's tons of different kinds of wood that works best for different applications. And so not only am I getting into the wood turning side, I'm getting into all these exotic species of wood and what they're best used for. So it's the knowledge of different kinds of trees and plants. So that's a cool situation to be in.
Do you have any intent to maybe start a little side hustle with it of selling pens, selling maybe lamps or jars with lids or those types of things?
Yeah, so I just make this stuff. That's all I do, and my wife kind of sells them. She'll sell them on whatever platform she sells them on. I'm not sure. I'm more into the making it and giving stuff away, and my wife is more like selling them and selling them to her friends or to her coworkers or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I know
Yeah.
you got me some for my groomsmen, so that was really cool. Didn't you say you had a laser that you could like engrave some names into it too?
I don't actually have the laser engraver, but that is something that I'm wanting to get into. And it just comes with a whole different kind of aspect to it. That's the whole different ball game. So that's something that I'm really wanting to do is start laser engraving these pens or wooded jars or lidded jars.
So I would imagine the wood is square when you start, correct?
It can be.
How do you get that into a cylinder or a circle?
I mean, if you're starting with a square, you just put it in a headstock and tailstock, pin it in there, and you get it going and you just run it smooth until it's rough round. And then you can go from there. If you're making a honey dipper, I don't know if you know what a honey dipper is. I'm pretty sure people know what a honey dipper is.
I don't know what a honey dipper is, but
Honey dipper is it's like a wooden utensil about 8 to 10 inches long, and you dip it in a honey jar. It looks like a honeycomb at the end of it, and that's where you dip it in the honey
okay.
jar and pour it out. I mean, say if you want it 1 inch around, you'll probably get a piece that's inch and a half by inch and a half by however long you want it, and then you turn it to size, turn it to a rough round, and then you do your detail work and make your handle on it where it's going to be ergonomically designed.
Honey dipper. I got you now. Like on Honey Nut Cheerios boxes. No, it just clicked though. Now I got where
Yeah,
you're
there you
at.
go. Yeah.
Do you have one tool that specifically makes it rough, and then another one that's for? I would imagine you have more than just one piece of
Right.
metal that is there to help make. Or is it metal? Is it wood? Is it glass? What is it?
Yeah, it's metal, and they have tons of different ones. The ones that I've been using are carbide tips, so you can replace the carbide tips rather than sharpening the chisels, which that's something that I want to get into, but sharpening your own chisels, the machines for those are pretty expensive. They have all these jigs that you use, but to sharpen them. So I've just been using the carbide tips, which the carbide tips are super easy. They're very beginner friendly. They're cheap. They're cheap to buy, and they stay sharp for a while.
Can you, for anybody who wants to start maybe wood turning, is it a fairly cheap hobby to get into right off the bat to start out?
Yeah, yeah. I would say it's one of the cheaper ones. You can go on Marketplace and get a lathe for a couple $100. I actually got mine at Harbor Freight. I wanted one with a variable speed, so I think mine was about $700. The tools, the chisels for $100. You can just get wood turning pen kits online. I got 84 for like $90, and there's 5 or 6 different colors from gold, rose gold, black, gunmetal, rainbow slick. And then you just go from there. You could pick up any piece of wood on the ground if you wanted and turn a pen with it. So I would say altogether, I probably spent a little less than $1,000 to get into it. And you don't have to spend $1,000. I didn't need the lathe that I got, but I just wanted it because it had variable speed. I can slow it down with a turn dial.
I'm still baffled on how you take something square and make it round. Like, does it take giant chunks out of it when you're making it round, or is it slowly shaving pieces up? I'm thinking logic. You have a square turning
Hmm.
and a metal piece hits it. Either it's gonna take your hand with it, in my thought, or how do you get it to where it's not gonna hurt you?
Yeah, so I mean, it's spinning so fast that you're hitting the edge of it, hundreds of times per second. You're not going to take your chisel and just jab it in there. You just got to go slow, and it takes off little material at a time, but it's taking it off so fast that it gets down to round pretty quick from a square.
So, what is it about wood turning that you enjoy?
I just kind of block everything out. I'm more than hyper focused on what I'm doing. I just crank some tunes, and it's just me. It's not, I don't have any outside distractions. It's pretty cool. It reminds me of dirt biking, that mentality of dirt biking where you're just kind of free.
Okay, you're just kind of in your zone. It's you. You don't. It doesn't require anybody else.
Right. Yeah.
You can block out Jesse if you have
Yeah.
to.
That's the main part. Yeah.
So I expect to get a lamp out of one of those bullets because I think that'd be really cool. I think you can make some pretty cool stuff out of that.
The kids love doing it.
Did you teach the kids how to do it so they know how to use it?
Yeah, I just stand there pretty much. They know what's going on from watching me and stuff. I just stand there because if you get your hand wrapped up in that, I mean, it's going to break, rip your finger out. I mean, it's going at what, 3,500 RPM, spinning
Yeah.
pretty fast.
So have they made any pens or anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah. They've made a couple of pens that they give them away or they lose them.
Where they lose them? What got you started on pens? Was it just because, hey, this is something simple to start with, just to get the feel, or
Yeah. Yeah. People are making pens that they're selling for hundreds of dollars, literally hundreds of dollars.
for a pen?
Yeah. Well, because
Good
it all
Lord.
depends on the type of pen and the type of wood they're using. I mean, there's
Yeah.
exotic woods out there that's for an inch and a half by inch and a half by 12 inches long that are $120 if you know if you buy them through a wood supplier. And so you got to think if you put that type of wood into a pen kit that would cost me $50, I mean, you're looking already in materials, you're already up to probably 98 to $110. So I mean, if you're going to get something out of it, you got to get something out of it. People do them for like lawyers, judges, just people who are in the elite.
They want super fancy pens.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a niche buy or
How do you get the hole that goes through the middle?
usually people use a drill press and a vise and they'll clamp that pen blank into the vise and then they'll drill it out. I usually just use my lathe. There's a pin chuck and a pen chuck. A pen chuck has two teeth on it. Pin chuck has three. So I use a
Okay.
pen chuck and I put it in there. And so it's going to spin it directly and from center to center. And then I, take my lathe and I just, roll it into it, roll the bit into it and it'll drill out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more into that than I thought. I got the kind of feel for it when I was in high school because we had one, but nobody ever used it. How do you come up with the different projects that you do? Like, how did you come up with that bullet casing?
Just boredom. I don't have any numbers or I was just bored of making pens really. After you make 150 pens, you're like, okay, this is fun, but what else can I do with it?
You didn't look up the details and the instructions on that, or you didn't see somebody else do it and were like, hey, that's cool, let's give it a try.
No, I was turning a branch from our poplar tree and it started looking like a bullet. And so I was like, hey, let's keep this going. And so, I made a couple of those and I like to make jars. So I was like, hey, I'm going to cut the projectile of this one off and hollow out the brass part of the round. And yeah, I mean, it worked.
How do you make that hollow?
Instead of turning on the outside, you get your outside turned to whatever shape you want. And then you put your tool rest in front of it. I just kind of slowly just take out material from the inside.
So this drill bit that you're talking about, is that like on a separate drill or is that part of the lathe? Like you have like a giant drill part that goes into it and clears it out, or is that drill part separate?
No, it's with the same. It's so there's a headstock, and the headstock is where the motor is, and that's the part that turns. And then you have your tailstock, which that stays stationary. And so I don't know if you're familiar with a Jacobs chuck.
No, not by name.
Okay, so if you take the end of a drill, that chuck that's on there that you have to spin and
Oh, yeah.
that's somewhat of a Jacobs chuck. Well, these ones have these Jacobs chuck, they call it a Morse taper, and that fits into the tailstock. It's a Morse taper. It's a piece of metal that tapers from big to kind of smaller, I guess. And that fits into the tailstock. And then that Jacobs chuck, you can put whatever bit you want into it. And then while this is spinning, the headstock is spinning, your tailstock with the Jacobs chuck and your bit, it'll drill into it and helps hollow it out.
That's cool. I'm just thinking of all the possibilities of the things you could make me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's endless what you can make.
I mean, that bullet is very impressive that you have. Like, I almost thought it was like a thermos at first when you
Yeah.
made it and showed me it. I thought it was more a thermos. My dad used to have, I forget what it's called, but it was this big thermos. And you know how you just used to take off, you had to unscrew and you could use the cap as the cup. It
Yeah.
was one of those thermoses. And that's kind of what that bullet had reminded me of, but it
Mm,
was wood instead.
yeah.
You should see if you can make those into shorter ones and you can make them into little glasses. If you put the right urethane or something in there, you could utilize it as a cup or a mug or something.
Yeah. So they do have insulated cups so you can make it out of wood.
Okay, that'd be cool. You should get into those. Those are super cool.
So you could have like a one of a kind custom wood insulated cup.
See, I mean, that seems pretty cool to me. I would do that.
Yeah.
I'd pay
I'm gonna
a couple
send
$100
you.
for
I'm
that.
gonna send. Yeah, I'm gonna send you a link.
Now I'm just gonna get you on all these things, and I'll just take all your dummy pieces that you don't like how they turned out, and I'll
Yeah,
just take all those.
and then this would work very very well with the laser engraver. So I'm gonna send this to you because I got your number and all these other dudes don't.
I mean, you could make some pretty cool whiskey glasses. or just glasses in general, or the thermos mugs, those kinds of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Or like shot glass.
Yeah, if you could get a laser engraver, you could start your own business with this, dude.
Yeah. Right.
And then just you'll have to just be your marketing person because we know the technology side of things.
Yeah. The iron fist of marketing.
Dude, it's a minute. It takes a minute of time for sure.
Yeah. The only kind of downfall of that is there's sawdust everywhere. Like it gets tracked into the house. It's messy, but coming from the background that I've had and the fact that I can't sit still, I think it's awesome for me to stand in one place for hour, 2 hours at a time, focused on one thing, where usually I can't sit still. I can't focus on anything. So it's freeing for me.
I can't really relate because there's times like I can sit down and I can just chill and watch TV, you know,
Yeah.
whereas a lot of people can't, you know. And so I think there's a lot to be said about being able to find those projects that you could just unplug from the rest of life or the rest of society.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what, it beats staring at a screen all day and scrolling. You're actually doing something, you're creating something. And I'm all for people learning new things. And I know getting the lathe and turning it's a bit expensive. It's not terribly expensive, but I mean, like I said, you can get a cheap lathe online on
Yeah.
Marketplace or wherever. And I really implore people to take something up and be creative and, get off the screen. I mean, stay on the screen for us, but
You don't have to be on the screen to listen to us, though.
yeah, that's true. Hey, it's probably best that you keep an open ear until you're pretty comfortable with doing that, just in case something happens or someone comes up behind you and jump scares you on accident. You want to keep
That could
10
turn
of
bad.
these. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just getting out and doing something and just being creative.
I mean, I'm far less creative than I used to be. My mom says I used to be super creative when I was younger, but I can tell you if I would have gotten a lathe because I was into it, I would not have been able to come up with that bullet idea that you had or anything like that. I got to have people around me that I can bounce ideas off of. And so if I don't have somebody that has the same hobby or topic, then it's going to be pretty hard for me to be able to grab and continue rolling ideas.
I don't think it's impossible though. And I think that what you're saying is very subjective because I'm not a very creative person, right? Like I don't consider myself a very creative person. I can
I don't
copy,
know, you're pretty witty. That takes a lot to be witty. Takes a lot of
I suppose.
creativeness. You work in a trade. That's a pretty creative trade that if something goes wrong, you got to be creative to fix it.
True that. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But I mean, if you're staring at something for a long time, like if you're an artist and you draw, let's say you're not even a good artist, you just doodle, you're going to come up with some pretty cool stuff that other people are going to be like, oh, that's cool. I just think it takes time sitting in front of something that you love doing before you start getting more and more creative.
Yeah, that's fair.
It wasn't like I woke up today and I'm going to do a bullet. No, I was bored of doing pens. I was just turning a piece. I had no plan. I was just turning it and it just started becoming a bullet. I tapered one side and then I tapered it up and I was like, oh, I can do a bullet. And I mean, I just did it and it came out really cool.
It did come out very cool. I think my brain, you have your left side and your right side, right? I think it's your left side that is more artsy, more creative, more, that's the creative side of your brain, and the right side's more logical.
Yeah.
And I feel like the two sides of my brain fight each other
Yeah.
at
Yeah. Yeah.
times because I'm a very logical person. I mean, even just with my job, a lot of it is there's a set goal. It's planned out. I'm a pretty flexible person to where I can adapt and I run with change very well. But on the flip side of that, there's times that I am constantly brainstorming, which takes a lot of creativity too. But like I said,
Yeah.
I have to be talking with somebody to get that kind of creativity rolling. But I mean, so I wouldn't say my creativity is not there at all. Especially I've done sewing projects where like I've created a t-shirt quilt and stuff. And my family on both sides, my mom, she does anything from scrapbooks to sewing to she did a hand sewn quilt one time. So she is very crafty on her side, and all my aunts are. And then my dad, he's pretty crafty on his side. I mean, he was in a similar trade that you're in. He was in construction most of his life.
Uh-huh.
And so, I mean, I remember we would build bird houses and all kinds of things. It was like every other day I was walking out in the garage saying, "Okay, what are we building today?" Or "Where's my
Yeah.
birdhouse at today?" And
Yeah.
he always had different pieces of wood just laying around and always had the tools and stuff. So that was pretty cool to have the ability to do that growing up, to see like, hey, what do you like? I mentioned this before. I would grind my bike down and repaint it every other week. I've always been a person of I have to fill my time. I can't just be like sitting there doing nothing. If I'm just sitting there doing nothing and it doesn't feel like I have a purpose behind it, can't do it.
Yeah, yeah. Creativity is something that you practice, right? So I feel like you could lose creativity if you're just scrolling. Like a lot of kids, man, a lot of people, anyway, just people in general, they've given up their creativity to scroll on the internet. And like, not all of it. I mean, creativity can come in any fashion. I'm not super big on social media. I do Facebook mostly, and I usually watch, I don't know, Aliens, the Y Files. I'm really big into that. Not a conspiracy theorist by any means, but I just like documentaries, serial killing documentaries, just any documentaries. David Attenborough, my favorite of all time. You can get creative with content. I like hands-on, stuff. And I think creativity is something that's learned. Some people have more than others, but I think that they practice their creativity more than others. So it's all about practice.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. And I kind of said it earlier. You can lose that creativity just by scrolling, but I feel people get scrolling because they're like, oh, I got 2, 3 minutes here or there. And so they just scroll for a couple minutes. I mean, I've even seen it before with people in interviews. I'll go in for an interview and there's somebody going in right behind me, and I'll walk out of my interview and they're sitting there on their phone. Whereas I was always taught growing up to, if you're going in for an interview, you don't even bring your phone. Okay. Don't even bring your phone. Bring it in, leave it in your car or something. So then that way it shows like your full attention is
Yeah.
there versus being somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we could do a whole other episode on interviews.
oh, interviews. Hey, that's a really good one.
I mean, there's a trick that my brother Scott told me years ago. He said, if you're going to turn in an application or a resume, don't turn it into the front desk people. Ask for the manager, shake the manager's hand, meet the manager, and hand them your application, hand them your resume. Every single time I've done that, it shows that I'm personable. It shows that I'm coming to the hiring people, to the boss or
Yeah,
the owner of the store, showing that I'm there to get a job. I'm not there to just drop off an application. I'm not saying that you won't get hired if you do that. I'm not saying that you will get hired, but every single time I've done that, I've gotten hired. So I don't know.
absolutely. Like I said, I always have to fill my time. So I kind of started a side business of building resumes, building cover letters, giving interview tips to people. And down here, I think I've had probably 4 or 5 different people that I've done that for.
Uh-huh.
And they've gotten calls back from resumes, or a lot of times now, your resume just gets filtered out through AI
Yeah.
if you don't use the right words for that specific job. And so that's where it's hard, is that you have to, if you're applying for 7 different jobs, you need about 7 different resumes if they're in different fields.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
next week, I think that would be an amazing topic for us to take on, would be interviews.
Yeah, like I said, I've never not gotten a job when I actually meet the manager and show him that I'm personable, I'm hireable, I'm not afraid to talk. So I don't know how we went from lathes to work, but there it is.
It's all work, right?
It's all work.
All right, bud. To wrap us up here, you can find us on TikTok at Unfiltered Curiosity, Instagram at Unfiltered_Curiosity. You can email us at unfilteredcuriosity2@gmail.com. And then if you want to listen to us on YouTube, you can find us at Unfiltered Curiosity 20-40. And then we're obviously on Spotify, which I would assume is where you're listening to us from, because that's the only other streaming one we are on.
Yeah. And if you guys have a topic that you guys want to talk to or want us to talk about or cover, please, the topic situation for me and Jesse is just throw it in there. I mean, nothing's off limits.
Well, I guess we'll decide that when they start rolling in.
Yeah. I mean, we just won't pick their topic if we don't like it.